We knew we needed bail reform, but did anybody know that we needed it to the point where all we're trying to do is hit the obvious points to protect ourselves? No violent offenders out there. Nobody can provide surety who's got a crime. If you've got a history of violence, if this crime is a violent crime, I mean, really, these seem like very basic points, Paul.
Looking for reliable and convenient personal safety products? Less Lethal has you covered. As Canada's only authorized Byrna distributor, we provide a range of products for recreation, protection, and security. Explore our Byrna launcher lineup, including the LE, SD, TCR, and Mission 4, designed for different levels of performance and protection needs. We also offer the Banshee personal safety alarm, designed to protect children, women, and vulnerable individuals. Because your safety is our top priority. Shop now at lesslethal.ca.
Thanks for joining us. TPLmedia.ca, TPLmedia.ca/local if we're in your town. And if we're not, we're coming there. So take a look and see local content as well as the national podcasts that we do. And today we're taking a deeper dive on a topic that we started during our crime update last week. I recommend you subscribe and follow along with the crime update because every week we give a sort of an overview of what's going on crime-wise across the country. And this was on that list to talk more about it. Paul Micucci joining me. Thanks so much.
Hey, Mike.
When I say joining me, really I'm joining you because you've taken a deep dive on bail reform, which is what we're talking about today. The feds dropped it about a week and a half ago now. And we're going to take a closer look at it today.
Yeah, just before they go on summer vacation, on the 18th, they dropped this C-14, which is very interesting because it really prompted my research onto how many people have committed homicides on bail.
Oh.
Yeah. So I dove into it. I was very curious.
That's an interesting starting point.
Yeah. And so I went back, I started diving. I'm looking at trying to find 25 stats, trying to find 24, none, trying to find 23. Guess when the last time we reported the number of people on bail that committed a homicide?
No idea.
2022. There were 256 individuals charged with homicide while on bail or conditional release, accounting for 30% of the cases that year.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And we just dropped that stat?
Well, of course, it got too high.
Yeah.
And that happens, recently. I don't know if you've followed this, but Stats Canada laid off a bunch of people. So what happens with Stats Canada, as you look at kind of the ebb and flow of employment, as soon as a stat becomes too difficult for the government to deal with, we just lay off that group or lay out that division, and then off it goes.
That watchdog is now gone.
Right. So if you look at it, we have about 2025. We had 788 victims to homicide.
Okay.
So it's roughly stayed fairly flat. It's 1.91 per 100,000 population, which it's funny. When we do report the number, everyone always says, oh, that's a low number compared to the U.S., which is roughly 3 point something.
Okay, compare that to the U.S. for me.
It's half.
Okay.
Right. So if you look at it, we're roughly half of what the U.S. is. So that's the stat we always throw on the table. But we don't focus on the fact that the number includes a third of the people that are out on bail that do commit the crimes of murder. So, and then I went back and I actually looked, and the one that came to mind, the one that popped up was one that I think Pierre Polyev always refers to, and this is the young lady in Brampton that's killed by her partner who was out on gun charges. Mm-hmm. So he was given bail. He had a violent past. He was given bail, and it's Paul Henderson and Flo Bellman basically saying that the court protected
the criminal in
this person, let them out. They committed the crime. They were mad that they were in there for partner violence, got out and shot their daughter. And, we just hear that time and time again. And, being familiar with Peel, I dug into it, and I said, okay, what happened out of that? Like, what was the result of that? Well, the police crew or the police chiefs from Peel all came together, and they came up with a set of recommendations. And this took a while. It was in 2025. and which is interesting because the recommendations were review and expand reverse onus provisions for bail in cases involving violent crime, serious offenses, and organized crime. These offenses include car thefts, home invasion, human trafficking, and drug smuggling. They wanted to actually have more money into jails and policing. Well, that made sense because they know there's a backlog. And basically, they wanted to prioritize victim safety in bail and release decisions.
Right.
So that's currently not in there, which we're going to talk about in a minute. Because prior to C14, your ability to get bail was based on the definitions. It's 3 categories.
Right.
And so they didn't have that in there, which I thought was just bizarre in my mind.
In the new reform version of this bill that's been put forward, it's interesting because I took a look back, and just in March alone, the Conservatives put forward bills that are very, very, I would say, really more detailed than what came out in this bail reform. I'll give you one. Bill C-246, make sure sexual predators receive consecutive sentences so each offense is recognized and punished. That was thrown out. Bill C-220, end leniency for non-citizens convicted of serious crimes and ensure deportation instead of special treatment. That one got voted down. Bill C-243, stop yearly parole hearings that force victims' families to relive the trauma again and again. Jail, not bail. So just even those 3 in the last year prior. And of course, I think I recall when Poilievre came out with these suggestions on the basis of the recommendations of the chiefs of police. I think that at that point, the Liberals were like, don't worry about it. We're already working on something.
They did every time. He was either before or after them. But, Mike, and I don't know if you mentioned it, 274. Did you call up 270? Because
no, that wasn't on my list because it's a little earlier.
So 274, this is the one that it died on the order paper.
Right.
It created a strict rule where anyone accused of 3 or more serious crimes that carry a maximum penalty of 5 years or more, would automatically presume to need jail while awaiting making bail highly unlikely for chronic offenders.
And the Liberals said to that's a hollow statement. It's not even law. It's a very specific thing. 3 strikes and you're out is a pretty consistent law in a lot of countries now.
Right. So here you had the Conservatives putting very specific motions in bills and putting them up and putting them up and putting them up. So waiting. And the whole time, as you mentioned, the Liberal government's saying, it's coming. So Sean Fraser, right?
Yep.
He's the minister in charge of this. Now, Sean has a lot of interesting portfolio's that he looked at. Immigration, housing, that he made a horrific mess out of, and I think has been duly noted with a lot of people. He's been given this file, and so he kept saying, it's coming. Well, it came just before they left for summer vacation.
And it arrived, do you mind me mentioning, it arrived on a Friday late in the day.
Yeah.
There's something to that. I'm sorry, but if you're expecting the media to cover something, that's not the time of the week and the time of day that you do it. You do that to avoid scrutiny.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Now, C14, can we spend a few minutes? Because those people, right?
I need to unravel that.
Yeah. So it makes bail harder to get for those accused of repeat and violent offending by creating new reverse onus rules in certain cases, meaning the accused must show why they should be released.
Right.
Right? That sounds great. When I read it, it's funny. I've read this a couple times now, the other day on the crime show, and I've read it in prep, and then I read it in prep again today. I'm reading it, and I'm thinking, okay, that sounds good. Right?
Well, however, it also requires, first of all, it sounds okay because it's the first thing that it's the headline. Yeah, violent criminals won't get out on bail. They need to prove it to us. And okay, continue on into this.
Yeah, directs police to detain an accused for a bail hearing when it is necessary to protect the public, including victims and witnesses. Makes sense, right?
Oh, of course. Yeah, no, another great headline. The things that we really expect our government and our law enforcement already to do.
Requires courts to consider more factors at bail hearings, whether the allegations involve violence that was random or unprovoked.
Okay.
So in other words, if you just got attacked for walking down the street, then that must be considered. Makes sense.
Fair. Yep.
Requires courts to consider whether the accused has numerous or serious outstanding